Hare Krishna. Let's start with this prayer. Om Adnyanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So welcome back to Wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. Currently we are doing chapter 5, which is called Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. As we discussed last week, this chapter is very similar to chapter 3. And it starts with a similar inquiry from Arjuna, similar to what he did in chapter 3. So Arjuna is confused by the last two verses of chapter 4, where Lord Shri Krishna emphasized on, Arjuna thought that he's emphasizing on giving up of work, which is karma sannyas, on one side. And in the last verse of chapter 4, he is seeing that Lord Shri Krishna is again emphasizing on doing the prescribed duty of fighting. So he's thinking that Lord Shri Krishna is talking contradictorily. So one side he's saying work, on the other side he's saying give up work. Hence he asked again at the beginning of chapter 5. He's asking, tell me for sure what to do. Do you want me to do karma sannyas or nishkam karma yoga? Give me one solution. So don't confuse me anymore. And immediately Lord Shri Krishna answered in the second verse. And he said, actually, both of these paths that you're talking about, if you look at it from the perspective of outcome, they are both similar because they both lead to liberation. They will take you from the material realm to the spiritual realm. But if you look at the practical implementation of these paths, then you will realize that Nishkam Karma Yoga is much simpler to implement. It is more practical to implement as compared to Jnana Yoga. So if you're going to get the same result, but one path is easier to do and then the other path, then what to do? Simple solution. Just do the simpler path. So that is what Krishna's recommendation, that do Nishkam Karma Yoga instead of Karma Sannyas. Actually, Karma Sannyas is equated by Arjuna to Jnana Yoga. So his question is basically Jnana Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Krishna is saying that both are going to give the similar result, but Nishkam Karma Yoga is simpler. So just do Nishkam Karma Yoga. So generally, those people who give up the material work, they are called sannyasis, literally. But Krishna is saying, who's a true sannyasi? So he's defining a true sannyasi. He's saying that a person who neither hates nor desires fruits of activities and is free from all dualities, such a person is a true sannyasi. So that means it is not that you have to actually give up the action itself to be a sannyasi. As long as you can give up the attachment towards the result of your action, you are still a true sannyasi. So there's the simplest way, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport of that verse, that the simplest way to do it is doing everything in Krishna consciousness. Do everything for Krishna's pleasure. And automatically you achieve this, which is he's recommending, he's transcending us from Nishkam Karma Yoga to Bhakti Yoga level. Krishna. Then the Lord is explaining about various qualities of a Nishkam Karma Yogi. He's saying that such a person is Vishuddhatma. Vishuddhatma means he has purified intelligence. He's Vijitatma. He's very self-controlled. He's not controlled by the desires. He's not controlled by the mind, but he's very self-controlled. His Jitendriya, he has conquered his senses, very similar to the earlier one that we talked about. His senses are not controlling. When the senses generally see the sense object, they will immediately get attracted. And even though you don't want to do it, as in the end of the third chapter, as Arjuna was asking about how sometimes you don't want to do things, but still you're dragged towards doing it. And what is the cause of it? And Lord Shri Krishna mentioned it is lust only. So this person has conquered lust because he is called a Jitendriya. He's not conquered by his senses. He is controlling the senses. And in the 10th verse that we saw, Lord Shri Krishna gives a very nice analogy of this lotus leaf. How the lotus leaf is on the water, but it is still not touched by the water. Similarly, such a Nishkam Karma Yogi, who's a very advanced person, who's Jitendriya, who's Vishuddhatma, he's Vijitatma, such a person, even if he's doing all kinds of action, so that means he's covered by actions. Just like the lotus leaf is covered by water. There is water down, sometimes the water goes on top as well. But when you actually remove it, it is still dry. So it is not that it becomes wet and you have to take some cloth to wipe it. It is not touched by the water. Similarly, this person as well, who's a Nishkam Karma Yogi, even though he is doing various actions, he is still untouched by the reactions of such action. So he's free from the sinful or the good or bad results, both do not touch him. And that is how he becomes liberated. So from there, we will continue to now 11th verse. कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या कैवलैर् इन्द्रियैरपि योगिना कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्तात्मशुद्धये. Who wants to read the translation for this? Yes, Mataji. Margi Mataji, please go ahead.
The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even with the senses, only for the purpose of purification.
So, thank you, Mataji. So, in the till previous verses, so Lord Shri Krishna was mentioning about how this person is so detached. This Nishkam Karma Yoga is very detached. So, someone will ask, so if such a detached person, why should he do the activity? What is the purpose of doing any action for him? If he is detached from the result, he is detached from the credit of the activity as well, then why is he doing the activity? So here it is mentioned that this person is utilizing his kaya. Kaya means body. Manasa means his mind. Buddhaya means intelligence. And indriya means all the senses. So everything he is utilizing for Krishna's pleasure, for doing these activities. So what is the purpose though? Only for the purpose of purification. So he is doing the activity so that he can get purified. What kind of purification Lord Shri Krishna is talking about here? So we are actually controlled by modes, the material modes, the three modes of material nature. And when we go towards the later part of the Bhagavad Gita, there are multiple chapters who talks very detailed in a very detailed way about the three modes. So mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Sattva guna, raja guna, and tamo guna. These three modes are controlling us. And because of these three modes and this prakriti, we think that we are this body. And this thinking and understanding that we are this body is called false ego because it's a false identity that we have. So by doing all the activities, utilizing our senses, utilizing our complete body, utilizing our intelligence and mind, all the activities, if we do in a detached way, then what will happen is we will get purified of the false ego. Means we will start understanding that we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. We will move from ignorance to passion, passion to goodness, and from goodness to pure goodness. So that is how the purification process will work. And it may be a slow process, but it is surely going to happen. That is why this person, Nishkam Karma Yogi, is doing more and more activities. Krishna. And that is how he's getting purification. And there is one more result that comes, which is mentioned in the next verse. Verse number 12. Yukta karma phalam tyaktva shantimapnoti naishtikim ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibhadyate. Yes, Kalakali Mataji and Sevakraj Prabhuji, please go ahead. You're on mute.
Okay. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me, whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled.
So here a contrasting example is given by the Lord. And this is also a summary of the last few verses, last 5 verses from 7 to 11 were given. So Lord Shri Krishna is now summarizing those verses in this one verse by giving this contrasting example. And he is comparing Nishkam Karma Yogi with a Karma Kandi. So the person who is attached to the result of the activities and the person who is detached from the result of the activities. What is the difference? What is the difference between their results is mentioned here. So the person who's in Krishna consciousness, so it is said that the steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me. So all the activities, the result of the activities is offered to Krishna. That means he's in Krishna consciousness. And he's attached to Krishna. He's not attached to the results. And what does he get? He gets unadulterated peace. Shanti. We will get peace. But the person who's in bodily attachment or bodily consciousness. So it says, whereas the person who's not in union with the divine, who's greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. So if you're in bodily consciousness, then you are very attached to the results. And then what happens is we get entanglement. We get entangled in this reaction cycle. So we do activity, we try to enjoy the result. We enjoy the result, and then the lust develops, and continuously we actually keep doing the activities. And with that attachment, our results pile up on our head. And some of those results are not able to be enjoyed or suffered in one lifetime. So there is a carry forward reaction. And that carry forward reaction you have to actually complete. So you have to take another birth. So that kind of entanglement cycle we will go into. But a person who's in Krishna consciousness, he is attached to Krishna. So he gets peace. Now, what is this peace? Peace is generally is opposite to anxiety. So we are generally this person who's entangled. He is very anxious. The two reasons generally he is anxious. First of all, when he's doing the activity, he's anxious whether he will get the result or not that he is hoping for. So that is the anxiety that is there. Once he gets the result, then he has the anxiety of losing the result that he has received. So no matter whether he gets, when he's doing the activity, he's anxious. If he doesn't get result, he's anxious. If he gets the result, he's still anxious. So this anxiety is always there with this person who's attached to the result. Whereas the person who's in Krishna consciousness, he's not attached to the results. He's peaceful. He knows that I will do my best. Krishna, this is very important point. Krishna is actually not asking us to get the best of the results. He's just asking us to do our best, put our best effort into the activity that we are doing. And then after we have done that, then leave the result to Krishna. You may or may not get the result that you are expecting. But as long as you have done your best activity, then you are satisfied. You don't have any problem. So this is what we can learn from this verse, this set of verses, that do your work without attachment and aversion. And if you do that, what will you achieve? There were multiple results which were mentioned. So in the 7th verse, 5.7, it was mentioned that we'll never get entangled. 5.10, which was this lotus leaf verse, it was mentioned that we'll never incur sin. Then just the last verse that we saw, 11, there it was mentioned that we'll get purified. And this 12th verse is talking about we'll get unadulterated peace. So if we do our work without attachment and aversion, we'll achieve so many things. No entanglement, no sinful reaction, no like complete purification and complete peace. So it is worthwhile doing the activity without attachment and aversion. Now, the next few verses which are coming are talking about how is this person so detached? How is it possible for this person to be so detached from the result of the activities? And the solution is very simple. Kalakli Mataji, you have a question? Okay, no problem. It was just the hand raised before. It's fine. So it is mentioned here, like this next few verses that we are going to talk about, they are explaining to us how come or what is this consciousness of this person and by which he can become detached. And the reason is very simple. He understands who is the doer. We are a little bit confused when we are doing the activity. We are thinking that I have done everything. Whatever I'm doing is the result, like whatever I'm getting is the result of my own actions. And that is why we become attached to the result. I'll give a simple example. Say, suppose you're playing a match of cricket or even football or whatever, like a group kind of activity. So even if you're playing a cricket match and even if you're like a best batsman in that team and you have scored a century, even in that case, you still cannot win the match if the rest of the players do not play properly. So when a match is won by a team, it is not the result of the activity of one person. It is a result of the activity or the playing which is done by the entire team. So that is why at the end of the match, the winning captain, when he's giving an interview, he doesn't say that I'm the captain and because of me, this match has been won. If he says that, then people will say he's very arrogant. His team will be very unhappy with him and they will immediately start criticizing him, saying that, see, so many players played very well, but he is taking the credit of everything. What does he say? He says that the team played very nicely. The batsmen did nice batting. The bowlers did nice bowling. The fielders as well worked properly. And because of all of that, this teamwork, we have won the game. So he's acknowledging that the doers is not one. The doers are the game, like the team of 11. So this is the acknowledgement. But what happens is generally we are playing a game like this team game. We are playing cricket. But when we get the result, we think as if we are playing the singles tennis match. In the singles tennis match, whatever you are doing, you are getting the result yourself. Like it is because you have played well single-handedly. That is why literally single-handedly. So because of that, you are getting the result. So imagine this. You are playing a team game, but you are thinking that you are playing a singles match. And because of that, at the end of the match, when you win or lose, you think that you have done everything. So someone has to wake up this person. Hey, come on. You need to understand that this is not, you're not playing the singles tennis match. You're playing the game of cricket, which is a team sport. And here there are multiple people have to actually do their activity properly. Only then you can win. So this is the purpose of the next few verses that the Lord is talking about. So this verse number 13 to 16 is explaining to all of us that you are not the only doer. There are multiple doers involved in your activity. You are not playing a singles game. You are playing a team sport. So do not claim that you are the doer. You are the only doer. And that is why if you understand that you are not the only doer, automatically you will think that, oh, this is all by Krishna's mercy. If you're successful, you can say it is all Krishna's mercy. It is not only my action which has given this. So let us read these 4 verses and then we will do some more explanation. Verse number 13. Yeah, 12th we have done. सर्वकर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्यास्ते सुखं वशी नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्. Yes, Raghavendra Prabhuji and Mataji, and then Uma Mataji and Vidushi Mataji, you can.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done.
Yeah. So the body here is compared to a city of 9 gates. So city of 9 gates. So what are the 9 gates? So Srila Prabhupada explains which are these 9 gates which are there in the city, in this body. So there are 9 holes that we have. So 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 anus, and 1 genital. So that is how there are these 9 holes which are compared to the 9 gates of this body, or the city having a nine doors. So when you are staying in city, like we are staying in Wellington, some are staying in Bharat somewhere. So we do not say that I am Wellington. You say that I am staying in Wellington. So similarly, we are staying in this body. We are spirit soul, and we are staying in this city which has 9 gates. So this is the first thing that we have and we can understand, that we are staying in the city of 9 gates. When the embodied living beings control his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, neither working nor causing work to be done. So this is talking about the spirit soul, how he is acting in this body. And we'll talk a little bit further on this, but let us go to the next verse, 14th verse. न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्मफल संयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते.
The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature.
Thank you. So this this verse is talking about material nature now. The first verse was 13th verse was talking about the spirit soul who is staying in this body. And here, the last line of this translation, it is said, all this is enacted by the modes of material nature. So another doer has been mentioned. So the soul is a doer, as per 13th verse. As per 14th verse, material nature is also the doer. Because this embodied spirit, this Atma, who is staying in this city of 9 gates, he does not create activity, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. So he's not actually the creator of the action, creator of the fruits, and he's not even giving this inducement, that induction, that, oh, you should do this. Everything is enacted by the material modes. So because we are covered by this mode of passion or ignorance, we have particular nature. And because of that nature, we would want to do something. In mode of ignorance, we would be very lazy or very violent. In mode of passion, we will be wanting credit or fame or the fruits of our activities. And that is actually driving us. Mode of goodness will be a little bit more peaceful. We will be interested in knowledge. We'll be looking for activities which are peaceful in nature. So depending on the nature that we have developed based on the previous karma that we have done, we will be wanting to do some activities now. So that means that inducement is also coming from the material modes. That means Prakriti. And who's controlling this Prakriti? So that is now mentioned. There is this third doer is introduced in the 15th verse. Nadate kasya chit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhu ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Yes, Sannivas Prabhuji Mataji. Oh, Mataji, na? Lavanga Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers the real knowledge.
So the Supreme Lord is actually, thank you, Mataji. Supreme Lord is controlling the three modes of material nature. We all know that. So the Lord is controlling the material modes. The material modes is controlling because of the material modes are acting on us. That is how the soul is doing all these different activities. So someone will say that, hey, I'm not the doer then. Why am I getting the reactions? I'm controlled by the modes. Modes are controlled by the Lord. That means Lord is doing everything. So he should get the results. Why I am getting the reactions? Why I'm suffering here? He should suffer. He's making me do everything. So it is said here, the first line itself, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. So the Lord is not a responsible doer, but he's a responsive doer. So he responds. So as he was mentioned, it was mentioned earlier in the 4th chapter, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. As we surrender unto him, he will reciprocate with us accordingly. So he's a reciprocative Lord. Depending on the desires that we have, he will reciprocate with us. And if we deserve a particular desire, like we may have desire, if we deserve to get as per that desire, then the Lord will sanction it. And once the Lord has sanctioned, then the material nature, who is under the control of the Lord, she will facilitate all the things through our body and through our mind, because the mind is having these three modes of material nature controlling it, and the body is also matter. So the material nature will use the senses, mind, and this entire body to facilitate it. So basically it is mentioned that there are three doers. Actually, if you go back to the 3rd chapter, there as well, this doer was mentioned. Who is a doer? So there it was this verse 3.27, which was mentioned. Prakrute kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate. So there the two doers were mentioned. It was mentioned that Prakriti is doing everything. Why you are thinking that you are doing everything? So there were two doers which were there, you and the Prakriti. And here now the three doers are mentioned. And when we go further, there will be 5 doers which will come, or the 5 causes of actions which will come little later. But who are the 3 doers? The 3 doers we have are, first one is the spirit soul. And he's a desiring doer. He is desiring only. Lord does not interfere in that desire. And this is important. Lord has given us free will. And he doesn't control our free will. He doesn't interfere in that free will. He doesn't make us do or desire something specifically. It is the soul's responsibility, what he is desiring. So he is a doer, that he is desiring something. So he's a desiring doer. The Lord, as a super soul, he sanctions those desires, but also he sees whether the person is deserving that or not. So if he deserves, then accordingly he will sanction or reject his desires. So the Lord is also a doer in a way. He's a sanctioning doer. And the material modes of the three modes of material nature, they carry out the actions fulfilling those desires. So material nature has a facilitating role. The soul has desired, the Lord has approved it, the material modes will facilitate it. So she is a facilitating doer. So a desiring doer, a sanctioning doer, and a facilitating doer. All three are doing it. And this is how this team sport is there. So three players are playing this game: the soul, the Supreme Lord, and material modes. And of course, there are many other players because all the devatas are also working for these three modes. And that is how there are lots of doers. But at a high level, we have classified them into the three doers: the soul, the Supreme Lord, and the material nature. So the three doers are doing the activity. Then why the living entity is thinking that I am the only doer? So we should understand that I am not the only doer. And as soon as we understand that we are playing a team sport, we are not the only doer, the attachment that we will have towards the result of the activity, it will automatically reduce. At least it should reduce by 2/3. Because, okay, 1/3 activity is yours, but at least the 2/3 you can say that, okay, fine, the material mode has also played the part in whatever I have received. And of course, the Supreme Lord has also played some part in whatever I have received. So if 66% of attachment you have given up, then that is like a big progress. And the remaining 33% we will get purified automatically by continuing this activity without attachment to the result. If we continue doing that, then as 11th and 12th verse, which was mentioning, that we will become purified over a period of time, and then we will attain peace. So who's responsible then? Because as we were discussing earlier, that someone will say that, okay, 66%, I am not responsible. 66% reactions of my activities should also go to Lord and the Prakriti. So Krishna says, no. It doesn't work like that. You started it. Everything started from your desire. If you did not desire, there was no question of the super soul approving or rejecting it. And if it was not approved, then the material nature wouldn't have acted on it. That means you started it. So if reactions are coming, they come 100% to you. But if you want to take credit, you should understand that you are not the only doer. So the scriptures are telling us from both sides. Sometimes it says that you are the only doer, you are going to get the reactions. When time comes to give the reactions, to give the responsibility of the activity, the scriptures tell us that you are the doer. But when we start saying that I am the doer, Krishna, then the scripture says, hey, come on, you are not the doer. There are other people also who are doing the activities. Other actors are also there. Prakriti is there, super soul is there. What are you talking about? You are not the doer. Don't be arrogant, don't be proud. And that is how it is helping us from both sides. If someone is proud, then the scriptures are trying to reduce that pride. When someone is trying to give up the responsibility of the action, and then try to say that, oh, it was not because of me, it was because of the Lord it has happened. Krishna says, hey, wait, it all started because of you. If you did not start, then all this activity wouldn't have happened. And we have talked about this example before. I think when we talked about the 3rd chapter, I may have given this example. So suppose a child is a very small child and he's trying to lift a big box, which is quite heavy. And he's bending and trying to lift the box, but he's not able to lift it because it is heavy. It is for the child. And the father looks and sees that, oh, my child is trying to lift this big box. So he comes over and he bends over on this child and gives the hand, and then that is how the box is lifted. And the child starts thinking that, yay, finally I lifted the box. But actually we can see that it was the child and the father both have lifted the box. But then is father responsible for that lifting? No, because the father was not going to lift the box. He only saw that the child is trying to lift the box. The child has a desire to lift the box. That is why the father came forward. He was doing his own activity. He came forward and then he helped the child to lift the box. So it all originated because the child had a desire to lift the box. Similarly, we have the desire to do some activity, the super soul is sanctioning, and the modes are acting. But all responsibility lies with us because it is originating from our own desire. Is that clear? Okay, let's take one simple example further about understanding this reaction. So suppose there is a thief and he was trying to steal something, but somehow or the other, a policeman comes and catches the thief, presents him in front of the judge, and judge proves that it was proven that the thief was doing some illegal activity, and the judge puts him into the prison. Now, in general, if someone asks this thief that, hey, why you are in jail? Most of the thieves will say, it is because the police caught me. That is why I am in the jail. Or because the judge was not good, he did not free me up, he put me into the prison. But we all know that it is not the case. He is in the prison because he was breaking the law. He was doing some illegal activity of theft. That is why he was caught by the police, and then he was put into jail by the judge. If he did not do the illegal activity, the police will not catch him. The judge will not put him into the jail. So it is similar. This thief is like the soul, the police is like the material nature, and the judge is the super soul. Soul is desiring, the super soul is giving the permission or rejecting it depending on the desires, like whether he deserves or not, and the material nature is enacting. It is facilitating. The super soul is not responsible. The judge is not responsible. He is neutral. He is not thinking that, oh, the first person comes, I'm going to put him into jail. The second person comes, I'm going to free him. The third one goes to jail. The fourth one is freed. Fifth one jail. Sixth one freed. No, he's not playing it randomly. He is responsive. Depending on the activity that you have done, the super soul or this judge is acting and he is responding to it. He is not responsible for your action. The police is also similar. The law, which is governed by the judge, he's just making sure that this law and order is maintained. And he is not the initiator. He is, depending on the law, if he sees someone is breaking the law, only then he takes an action. So he is also not a doer. Who's the doer then? The spirit soul only is the doer. So we have to understand this, that living entity is responsible for his own good and bad actions and is thus responsible for the consequences as well. Okay, any questions or comments before we move on? Okay, so the learning that we have is everything is starting from the desire. Soul has the power only to desire. So if everything is starting from a desire, then why not have spiritual desires? If we are only having the power of desiring, we are the desiring doers. It doesn't cost any money to desire. So let us have all spiritual desires. And depending on the sincerity that we have, whether we deserve, then Lord will reciprocate. If we are sincere in those spiritual desires, then the Lord is definitely going to reciprocate because He is waiting for all of us. For material desires, He will have to think whether He deserves it or not. But for spiritual desires, He will be very lenient and will try to fulfill that. Of course, some sincerity is still required. Remember, endeavor and mercy both are required. Our endeavor is that having that sincere desire. And then the mercy is that the Lord is going to fulfill those desires. So from today, increase your spiritual desires. If you are chanting 1 round, you should have a desire that I want to chant 4 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If you're chanting 4, think that I want to chant 8. If you're chanting 8, think that I want to chant 16. If you're already chanting 16, think about how can I improve the quality of my chanting. I want to have a very good quality of chanting. If you're already chanting nicely, you can have desires for reading the scriptures. You can have so many spiritual desires. Eat only prasadam, follow 4 relative principles, visit the holy dham, worship the deities. So many spiritual desires we can have. As long as we are sincere in those desires, Lord is going to reciprocate and take us forward. Okay. So we have covered till verse number 16 now. Did we cover 16 as well? No? Okay. So let's do the 16. Actually, we should have. Okay. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitamatmanah tesham adityavajnanam prakashayati tatparam. Yes, Mantramulam Prabhuji.
When, however, one is enlightened with knowledge by which innocence is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So it is mentioned that once we understand that we are not playing this singles game, we are playing a team sport, then suddenly the light bulbs goes in our head. Then, Arey, yes, I'm not the only doer. There are so many other doers who are helping me. So why I should be just taking the credit for me or even thinking that I should be getting all the results? I can actually offer some portion of the fruits to the Supreme Lord. And that kind of detachment will start developing in us. And this enlightenment will solve our problems. So enlightened with this knowledge. If we have this knowledge, the ignorance will go away. And then we will definitely come out of ignorance, mode of ignorance, to passion and goodness. And then we will go further into pure goodness. Now we are going to go further and see. So such a person who is now purified, he is now detached. We saw that when the Nishkam Karma Yoga somebody is doing, he gets purified and he is peaceful. So what happens to this person? How does he see the world after that? So it is mentioned that this person develops equal vision. So let us read these 2 verses, 17 and 18, which describes this equal vision of Nishkam Karma Yogi. Verse number 17. Tad buddhayas tadatmanas tannishthasthatparayanah gacchantya apunaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Yes, Surananda Prabhu, please go.
When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuse are all fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Let's read the next one as well, then we'll discuss a little bit. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni chaiva shvapake cha pandita samadarshinaha. Yes, Uma Mataji.
The humble sages, by virtue of true knowledge, see with equal vision a learned person, a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and the dog eater.
Thank you.
Outcast. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So this 17 and 18 verses are explaining the equal vision of this purified person. It's quite interesting how the Lord is explaining the equal vision. So in the 17th verse, it is mentioned that when one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. So this person who is advanced or purified, he is not only having the knowledge of the soul, but he is having the knowledge of the Supreme Lord as well. Only having the knowledge of the soul doesn't help us in liberation. We need to understand this Atma and its relation to the Supreme Lord or Paramatma. Only when we understand this, that the Supreme Lord exists and we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and we have some duty towards the Supreme Lord. And when we try to actually follow that process of connection of Atma to the Supreme Lord, then the liberation is possible. So that is mentioned in the 17th verse. And then in 18th it is mentioned that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shropakecha Panditaha Samadarshanaha. So these people who are having equal vision, what are they seeing? So by virtue of their true knowledge, they are seeing the learned person who's Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. He has learned a lot of things and he is like a scholar of Vedas. So you can see the, you're not seeing the photo, sorry. So in the picture, this learned person or the Brahmana is shown. So the Brahmana or a cow or an elephant, a dog or even dog eater, like outcast people, he sees them all equally. And how it is possible for him to see all of them equally? Because he's not seeing the covering of the person. He's seeing who's sitting inside the covering of the person. And not only he's seeing the Atma who's sitting inside this cage, he's also seeing the Supreme Lord sitting also inside the body. So because he's seeing the soul and the Supreme Lord inside each body, so he's able to give respect to everyone. He's thinking that the Lord is so wonderful that he is not giving up a dog eater, or he is not giving up a pig's body, thinking that, oh, pig eats such a filthy thing. I don't want to actually be in this pig's body. No, the Lord is equal. He is in the Brahmana's body as well, and he is in the dog eater's body as well. He's in the cow's body, he's in the pig's body, he's in the dog's body, elephant's body, everyone's body. Lord is actually there. So Lord is very merciful. There's a wonderful story. There was this one person, rich person was there, and he had taken a vow that I will feed a hungry person, and only after I have fed a hungry person, I will eat after that. And it was generally very easy for him. He will always, before his meal, any meal he is having, before that he will go and try to find a hungry person, and he will immediately get someone who's some beggar or someone who's hungry, or even some visitor to the village or to the city, that city where he's staying, and he will immediately feed them. And then after he has fed them, only then he will eat. So one day what happened was, breakfast time, he went to find a hungry person he couldn't find. So he couldn't take breakfast. He waited till lunch. Again, he started looking for a hungry person. He couldn't find anyone. So he couldn't eat because he has taken a vow. Without feeding a hungry person, I will not going to eat. So finally, evening time came and he is now very hungry. He's fasting since morning. He's without Ekadashi, he's doing Ekadashi now. So he's thinking what to do. So he actually went for a search. I must find one hungry person today. Otherwise, I will have to sleep hungry. So after a lot of effort, finally, he finds one hungry person. He says, come, come, I have special dinner for you. And he serves him like this multiple items that he has cooked, and he puts the plate in front of him. And this hungry person doesn't offer any prayer. He immediately starts eating. And he says, hey, wait, why did you not offer a prayer before you eat? He says, I don't believe in God. So what prayers I have to offer? So I don't believe in God. So that's why I'm an atheist. So I don't offer any prayers. And he is very, very upset. He said, I'm not going to feed an atheist. Get lost. If you don't believe in God, I'm not going to give you any food. And he just chases him away. And of course, he hasn't fed a hungry person, so he sleeps hungry. He says that I will sleep hungry, but I will not feed an atheist. So he sleeps, and in his dream, the Lord comes. And the Lord says, how are you? He says, I'm hungry. So he said, why are you hungry? So he tells the story that how I was trying to find a hungry person, but I couldn't find. Finally, I found this one person, but he was an atheist. So I chased him away. I did not feed him. And that is how I'm sleeping hungry. So he says, he asked the Lord, what do you think? Did I do it right? That I am sleeping hungry, but I did not feed an atheist? He said, how old was an atheist? This person who came, he says he was around 60 years. So the Lord said, so for 60 years, I have given him 3 meals. That is why he's alive. So why can't you give that atheist 1 meal? I have been feeding this atheist for 60 years with 3 meals. And why can you not give this atheist 1 meal? And that actually makes him realize that, oh, the Lord is so neutral. And he's looking after us whether we are atheist or we are devotees, whether we are dogs or we are cows, whether we are very learned brahmanas or we are dog eaters. No matter our situation, the Lord is actually looking after us. So this kind of vision that we have to develop, the Lord has this equal vision, and we have to develop the equal vision. So this equal vision, so this Pandita who is having developed this equal vision, he's seeing spiritual equality. He's seeing that everyone is the spirit soul. He's not looking at the body, external body. He's looking at the spiritual equality. And he understands that body is just a dress put on by the soul. For example, if you suppose one person is driving a BMW car, and then there is another person who's driving his cycle. So by looking at these two people, one driving BMW car and one driving a cycle, the person who's watching these two people doesn't say that this life of the driver of a BMW car is more important than the life or the person who's driving the cycle. If he kills any of them, he gets the same reaction. The law is not going to say that, oh, this person was only a cyclist, but this other person was a BMW driver. He's a richer person. So no, the result is that it is not important what kind of vehicle we are driving. The person who's driving the vehicle is important. So similarly, it is not important that what kind of cage or what kind of body that we have. The person inside the body is having equal value. They are all spirit souls. Body just a dress put on by the soul. And the Lord is neutrally present in the heart as Paramatma. So this is what the person is seeing. So what can we learn? So we should start seeing, So we should start seeing everyone as spirit soul and understand that Paramatma is accompanying the soul as their friend. So this is important understanding that we have to start looking beyond the body. It is not only we have to understand that I am not this body, but I am spirit soul. We have to also start understanding that these other people or other living entities which are there in front of me, they are also not their bodies. They are also spirit soul. And the Supreme Lord is accompanying them. So whenever we see someone, instead of having this judgmental mentality or criticizing mentality and thinking that this is my friend, this is my enemy, we should start seeing everyone as a spirit soul. And we should start seeing that there is Paramatma with the person. And as soon as we see the Lord there within the heart of the other person, we'll automatically respect that person. So I have a question now for you. So suppose you're going through a jungle and then suddenly a tiger comes in front of you. What will you do? It's a question for all of you. So just now we have said that equal vision we should have, and we should see the Lord in everyone, and we should see the soul in everyone, and we should treat them nicely equally. So now suddenly in a jungle, a tiger has come in front of you. Yes, Surananda Prabhuji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, we should see tiger as a tiger only. We know that Lord is sitting in tiger, but tiger doesn't know. So tiger point of view equally.
So suddenly, in a few seconds, you have given up this notion of equal vision, Prabhuji. Suddenly, you have started seeing the tiger as a tiger, not the tiger having the Supreme Lord inside. Okay. Mandrubulam Prabhuji.
Yeah, either we can try to kill the tiger or we run away from that place.
Oh, you're going to kill the tiger as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Kshatriya spirit is there. Okay, wonderful. Margi Mataji.
Uh, let the tiger do his job and we may proceed from.
Tiger doing the job means the tiger is going to kill us and eat us. Is that all right?
What else can we do in front of tiger?
There was one a joke that a devotee suddenly sees a tiger, and as soon as he sees the tiger, he prays to the Lord, "Oh Lord, please make this tiger a devotee." And the tiger jumps on this person and almost going to eat. At that time, the tiger starts saying, Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahman Vaishnaves. So he became a devotee tiger, but he's still going to eat. Yeah. Anyone else wants to try?
Some things are not under our control, na Prabhuji.
Yes, that's right. We can run, of course, as much as we can. So the human life is precious. Even when the tiger is coming in front of us, we don't have to say that let tiger do its duty. What can we do? Let him eat. He will be satisfied. No, human life is precious. In the human life only it is possible that we can make progress towards the Supreme Lord. And yes, as Surananda Prabhuji was mentioning, the tiger has super soul within him, but the tiger doesn't know. He has a desire. Everyone has different desires, and as per the desires, the body has been given. So the tiger has the body and the desire of eating flesh. And as soon as he sees food, he is going to eat it. And that is granted by the Supreme Lord for the tiger. But human as well, they have given this higher intelligence. You see that equal vision, but we need to understand when to apply this philosophy. Seeing equally doesn't mean that we should treat them equally. So seeing equally is not equivalent to treating them equally. So the super soul within you can guide you, and he has given us 2 legs. So we can run as fast using our intelligence. We can decide that, yeah, we have to actually do something about it. It is very risky situation. So we should run as fast as we can and try to protect ourselves. Of course, tiger runs faster than you, but you can just hope that he finds someone else while you are running, that you can save yourselves. So that is how you can save yourself. So we have to understand the other people's desires, and then it is okay for protecting us. Equal vision doesn't mean treating them equally. Yes. The raised hands, do you have questions or comments or?
Yeah, I have a question, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
So just on that, Prabhuji, you mentioned seeing equal but not treating them equal. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand that what that means in a practical terms. For example, there are 2 people suffering. You have a chance to help them. There is one is a learned scholar, or maybe one is your friend. Other one is not your friend, or not a learned scholar. So in that instance, how do we see them equal but
Yeah.
treat them differently?
Yeah, good question. So seeing them equally means that both of them require some help. You can see that both are in need. Both are in need of some help. But treating them differently is understanding, using your intelligence, what kind of help you can provide them and what is beneficial for them. So a learned person, say suppose there is one learned person who has come to you for asking for some money, and there is some beggar who is asking you some money. So you can see them equally and say that, oh, these 2 spirit soul have come for asking for money. I have $500. I will give 250 to him, 250 to him. Equal vision, equal treatment. But is this going to help? It is possible that the person who doesn't have the higher knowledge may misuse the money that you have given to him. So treating them differently means understanding, using your intelligence, that what is going to help them. Both are in need, but possibly the beggar, you can just give some food, and that way he doesn't have the opportunity to misuse the money for drinking or cigarettes or whatever. And the learned person, if you are able to give the money, you can help him with the money. And that way you have seen them equally, but not treated them equally. Is that making sense?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Let us do 1 or 2 more verses and then we'll stop. 19th verse. Ihaiva tairjita sargo yesham same stitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te stita. Who wants to read? Yes, Mahendra Prabhuji, and then Mantramalan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Verse number 20. न प्रवृषेत् प्रियं प्राप्य नो द्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिर बुद्धिर सम्मूढो ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः.
A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So in this 19 and 20, we can see some symptoms of the self-realized soul. These souls are advanced, just like the previous session as well. We were talking about Jitendriya, Vijitatma. Similarly, some more symptoms of the same self-realized soul are given. They have equal vision, and because of that equal vision, they become flawless like Brahman. Because we are living in the world of duality, and our mind is also acting in the dual way, heat and cold, happiness, distress, friend, enemy, gold and dirt, like that, we actually keep differentiating things. And that is why we remain on the material platform. But this person is self-realized. He's seeing equal vision. So he comes to the absolute platform of Brahman. He's having without the desire or hatred, and his intelligence does not rejoice or lament. And he remains sharp in intelligence, and he's unbewildered. He's fixed in the self, and he knows the science of God. So these are some of the symptoms of the self-realized person has been mentioned in these 2 verses. So we'll pause here, and hopefully in the next session, we will complete this chapter 5, 21 to 29. This section we will complete next week. Any questions, comments, or reflections, or any summary points that you want to mention? Anyone? Yes, Nimi Mataji, please go ahead. You're on mute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the lecture. It was very complicated, but you explained it very well. So I'll just summarize what I understand. So firstly, we started with, the how the logic you've said that neither if we are attached to the work, neither to the results of the work, right? Why do we really need to do it, right? So there are 3 reasons, right? Why do we need to do it? So the first reason is you gave an example of lotus flower, like where there is no sinful actions, right? That is the first thing. Second thing is there is a purification, right? And the third thing is the peace, right? And then the person who, and then opposite of peace is what they get is entanglement, right? And then you very nicely explain what does entanglement means, right? So entanglement means you have got desires, you have got lust, you do actions, and what it means is there is that cycle of birth and death happens, right? So hence, why do we really need to do it, right? The next thing is, says that then who is the doer, right? So again, very nice logic that you need to understand that you are not the only doer, right? So there are 3 kinds of doers. So the first doer here is the desire doer, right? So that is the main reason. That is a spark which does everything. Second thing is our facilitating doer, which is our material nature, Prakriti. And third thing is, which is the more important, that is the sanctioning doer, right? So the example you gave us of thief, right? Thief versus police versus the judge, who is the culprit here, right? And the other example you gave us, cricket, right? Which is always near to my heart, right? It is not only the captain or the Rohit Sharma, it is the whole team, right? Then you know the consequences if he says he's the only doer. Third example is the child, which he does it, his dad. So that is the thing, then what happens, right, when you understand that you're not the doer, right? So maybe I'll pause here, Prabhuji. I'll let someone else talk.
Yeah. But that was a very good summary. You are giving a lecture itself. Another one. Well done. Okay. Anyone else wants to give some summary points or reflections? Yes, Mahendra Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, 2 key lines I really liked in today's session. That one was God is not a responsible doer, but he is a responsive doer. So that's really one of the tagline I can say. And the second one is at the end of the session, which you said equal vision, that is seeing equally doesn't mean treating them equally, but treat differently as per the situation allows you.
Very nice. Good. Thank you. Any other reflections anyone else has? Or any comments?
So compared to previously, Prabhuji, what I understood is we do have a role in doing. Like in the past, my understanding before the class was we are not doers at all. Paramatma, he's created the surroundings and everything, the situation to get it done through us, but we are not the doer. But what I'm getting today is we're actually part of it as well.
Yeah, definitely. And when we talk about responsibility, then we are 100% responsible for it. When we want to take the credit, at that time we should understand that we are not the only doer. But when it comes for the responsibility, we are 100% responsible. Okay. If there are no further questions, comments, or reflections, then we'll stop here. And we will meet again next week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare
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 Krishna.
Krishna.